Good Monday morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, the cold has not left Texas. At least it hasn't left us, you guys. So come get your weather back, the north, okay? We'll take the heat. Come get your weather back because it hasn't left us, okay? So I'm sitting here with my heated blanket. But you guys listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, Valerie, and our lovely author guest today is Belinda. So you guys, let's just recap last week because if you thought last week, Monday, I was a hot mess because, my husband had unplugged my computer, did not plug it back in because he's just a mess. Okay. It went on for the entire week because he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. It was this whole thing. No one needed to be there when Amy lost her shit on Josh. Okay. I'm just going to admit that it was a fun conversation.
I'd give him $10 to been there.
It was a fun.
Amy lost her shit on Josh.
It was a fun conversation, you guys. So for all of you guys that don't know, I'm really involved in the Women in Publishing. They do their summit in March. I sponsor it. I've sponsored it for the past 3 or 4 years. I've lost count. So my webinar was last week on Thursday, and I had not solved this problem of my computer keeping a damn charge. Okay, I hadn't solved it. I don't know what was going on. And I went to do my webinar and I had like 12% on my computer. So I plugged it in. I did all this, looked like a hot mess, disorganized, all this crap. Right? I made it through my presentation. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to do it. I made it. Got to the Q&A session. Thing dies. Oh my God. I had to finish the webinar from my phone again. So last week was just Amy had to finish shit from her phone. Okay. I don't know what was going on. I don't know. It was a hot, chaotic mess of a whole thing. I did a lot of things, videos from my phone last week. But you guys, Josh had put the wrong, what is it? Like the power plug that you plug your USB-C into, the wrong size. So my laptop has the bigger one and my phone has the smaller one. And he had just plugged it into the one that was there, which was my phone one, which is why it was not charging. So now we're back up, fully charged. Everything's
It was still his fault.
Yes.
It was still his fault.
It was 100% still his fault. And I'm going to ride that sail for as long as I can. But no, it was fun and chaotic. This is Meadow's first full week back to school, you guys. And I don't know about any of you guys, but having 2 weeks off where I didn't have to get up necessarily at 5:30 in the morning by choice, like if I did it by choice, that's different, but I had to get up and be functional and like talk to people. It's way different. So this is our first week. So I'm struggling real hard this Monday because it's just 5:30 is rough, you guys. It's rough, especially because they've been waking up throughout the night and things like that. But as far as my weekends, you guys, I just took a big breather on my weekend because my week was like a hot mess, disaster, disorganized chaos. So I didn't do a whole lot this weekend. I did take my Christmas tree down, or by me, I mean Josh. Josh did take my Christmas tree down. My Christmas lights are still up on my house, okay? And, I don't like the cold. So I just chilled with a heated blanket most of the weekend. So what all did you guys do this weekend? I hope it was more eventful than mine, but not as eventful as last week. So who wants to go first? Belinda. Belinda gets to go first, voted by Russell.
Okay, what did I do? The weekend was busy. We went to blues R&B concert on Friday night, which was really great. It's in a smaller venue in Saskatoon here called The Basement. Bass as in bass, like music bass. So that was a lot of fun. It was a group I haven't seen for a number of years. So what's cool about The Basement is, you go in, you find a table, but, if there was only 2 of us, so the tables are for 4 or 6, so they will seat other people with you. So every time we're there, we meet different people, and it's always really great because they are there for the music. So there's always, you're starting off with a commonality. So the concert was really great. Saturday we went to the largest art gallery in Saskatoon here and saw the movie Flow, which just won a bunch of Golden Globes last week. So it was one I wanted to see anyway. Have any of you seen it?
No.
Oh, what's it about?
It's an animated film. There's no speech. So it's about animals in a post-apocalyptic world that's flooding, and they end up in a boat together. So there's no dialogue. It's all just music and animal sounds, and it's absolutely lovely. And there's many layers to it. So it's great for adults. It's great for kids. There were a lot of kids in the theater, and I didn't hear a peep from any of them, which was amazing. So they were all really engaged in this film. It was just a lovely piece of film. If you get a chance to see it, I recommend that. And
Nice.
then some family time yesterday with my brothers. I have three brothers. We all live in the same city, so we got together for a family dinner yesterday. So yeah, there was a lot going on.
Fun, good quality family time, and the fact that you got to enjoy a movie and kids were silent the whole time. I
I
have
know it
yet
was
to.
amazing.
Yeah,
So
I haven't
kids had to turn
experienced
around. I
that.
don't go to movies with kids.
Oh well, I don't know.
He
It's a
gets
love-hate
grandkid time.
relationship. Yeah, he gets grandkid time. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That
a
is
love-hate
what
relationship.
and
I went and
yes,
saw.
it's true.
I saw Moana 2 and it wasn't that bad. The kids, and I feel like in those kinds of movies, the kids actually make the movie because they're so shocked and they're like, oh, what? And you're just like, oh my gosh, what did I miss? Like I don't know. It's for me, it's in widespread entertainment. But I would also be dying to go to a movie that kids were silent in. Like that movie sounds very like visually stimulating in multiple kind of arenas, music wise, animals. So that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was unique and well worth it. So
I love it. I love it. Valerie, what did you do? You're always my adventurer going out doing all kinds of stuff.
I know she
Not
goes
this
to these
weekend.
restaurants and book fairs.
Well, I did go to the opening, but it was Thursday night, the opening of the new Fogo de Chao, which was just over the top amazing. And they kept
Fun.
giving you cocktails and cocktails, and I was like, I already have
I
3
hope you
cocktails at
Ubered
my
home.
table. Huh?
I hope you Ubered home. So you didn't need to call a lawyer that night.
No.
No. We were just like, sip, taste that one. No, taste this one, taste this one. But we ate so much food, so much food. It was just, they even, because it was the ribbon cutting night of the restaurant. So they had the Chamber of Commerce there and loads of appetizers and just the cheese bread, so many things we couldn't even eat dessert. We would have tried, but it would have been no.
So
But
Val, do
Yeah.
you write articles about this? Is this something that you wrote an article about?
I will be writing it for my website.
Okay, that's very cool.
And sharing across my social media for Hot in Houston now. But and Saturday we had a writers I guess spring meeting just for people who are teaching in the class, and it was kind of like classroom management, blah 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 blah. And so we were all sharing our experiences as teachers and writers. But one of the things we closed out the meeting with, and I think I would like to share this with you guys, is it was like, did you have one person that influenced you or motivated you to become a writer or a creative? Belinda, do you have anyone like that possibly in your life?
well, I could go all the way back to grade 3
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't remember the teacher's name, but part of the curriculum was learning about haiku and writing haiku, and that was just world opening for me. I love that idea of these short, very observant glimpses of nature and inner nature, and so and it was just a natural flow for me to write haiku, and that led me into other writing, and so English teachers all through grade school and high school were really important to me and really supportive. Mr. Roy, Mr. Christensen in high school were really gung ho about me and my writing. So yeah, just went from there. I was lucky to have good teachers all through grade school and high school.
And
That's
and
a
that's
good-
what we were talking about, as writers and teachers. Even if we put like on somebody's paper like great job, good word choice, excellent sentence structure or whatever, because we're not grading them, we're trying to move them towards like more creative, and just those little things like you were saying, you don't realize, but down the road it might be just like something that sticks in their head. Because I was sharing my story about how I had an English teacher. He was really, really tough. He was fresh out of college, my freshman year in high school. And he was very I think he had a different method coming in. He had the Hobbit for us. He would play Pink Floyd in the classroom, and just, all these like random things like that. And we were like, we've never had a teacher like Mr. Woodson. Oh my God. And so, but he was, everybody, respected and stuff. And then later on, he was my senior English teacher, and he got tougher, I guess, over those 4 years. And he was like, this is bad. This is, all the kids, he was like, you guys need to get your stuff together, write your stuff. And so finally I was just like, it's hard making him happy because he was so picky. But I'm pretty sure it was Brave New World, and I'd gotten like an A on that paper.
Nice.
And he wrote on there like, great job, or something like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I finally got it. And I had been writing for a long time on the school yearbook. I was editor of a section, all these different things, but none of that meant as much as him saying like, you got it. And then,
getting that
then
A.
finally, and then to get an A, I was like, oh wow, that's a lot. And just it's just like, you just don't know where things are going to take you when you share your feelings about someone else's writing. How about you, Russell?
Can I say something to you, Valerie? That
Yes.
is the best sharing you've ever done on this show. That is the best. Thank you so much for sharing that. Good
You're
job.
welcome.
I love that. Okay. And you notice how I'm moving away from answering the question.
Yes. But there's got to be a reason that encouraged you to write. Something.
I was only encouraged not to write. I had learning disabilities, and only in my struggles to overcome my learning disabilities did I learn to write. I was never encouraged to write. But
by doing,
I love your sharing story.
But by you doing that, did it make you more confident in your ability?
I was always confident in my ability. As is obvious, I was always that way, even when I had, and I still have those learning disabilities, some of which as an adult gives you a competitive advantage. Like being ADD is actually really wonderful when you're an adult, because as a lawyer, I can do 12 things at once during a trial, and do it all the same. I always had a competitive advantage practicing law in the courtroom because I could do everything all at once.
Nice.
So, but that really was the best thing you ever shared.
Oh,
My weekend, I had a great weekend, guys. The first thing I did was I won the overall fire award for Murder by Storm.
Did. Yes, you did.
And
you're so modest holding it in. We should have been celebrating you from the start.
Well, I got to tell you, I got to thank the people that listen to this show, because I know that's why I won, because I did not do anything to encourage anyone to artificially vote, because, I know the people that are behind the fire awards, and I did not want in any way, I did not want to win, because I did not want in any way to mess them up. So I did not at all campaign or ask anyone to vote for me. And I still won. And I was so shocked that when Dina announced it, I just sat there.
It was great.
I was so unresponsive. You could hear them like do that nervous laugh. Belinda, that nervous laugh people do, when they're like, oh shit, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Because I just sat there, because I was like, no, I didn't win, right? So I got to tell you, I'm very humbled and very grateful. I just don't know how to communicate how grateful I am. And
you wrote a good book.
That was the best thing that happened over the weekend. The weekend before, we actually picked out our new dog, Rita, and this is Rita, named Belinda. I'm in Georgia. We're in Georgia now, but we're Texans, and we miss Texas and Tex-Mex. So we named our new little This is an Irish cream retriever. We named her Margarita
Oh,
because it's a Texas
so
name.
cute.
But we're calling her Rita. And she's in training, so I don't even have her with me. Once she's with me, she'll be as big a feature of our author talk as Amy's cat, which is always on the show. But only the tail of Amy's cat.
Yeah,
Yes,
she's a
the tail.
mess. She may not come in today. My other dog's in here today because he was trying to eat my daughter's food, so I had to save her. So he's in here. But yeah, no,
I've had a hell of a weekend.
I love it. I love her name. I love her name.
Yeah,
that's lovely.
And we have 2 more things we have to do before we get to Belinda, Valerie. The first one is to thank the people that listen to our podcast. We're in the top 1% of Podplay. We're very shocked at our success and very grateful that you listen to us. When we first got on podcast channels over a year ago, Belinda, I couldn't find us. I am, as my wife describes me, as typical of my generation, and I don't like it when she does that. It makes me really mad. But I never could find us until Amy changed everything about us in our algorithm, and even I can find us now. Amy, where can people find us on the pod channels?
Yeah, so my go-to is going to be Amazon, Spotify. If you're an Apple user, iTunes, Google. If you're an Android user, Google Play, right? Good Pods is another one that you can go and find us. But you can also watch us live or watch all of our replays because me and Valerie is way better at having a poker face than I am. Like
He has terrible. No poker face.
I have none. I have none. Okay, but I control what comes out of my mouth. But my facial expressions generally tell you what's really on my mind. So if you want to watch us and engage with us or have a good laugh with or at us, because half the time we're laughing at and with ourselves. Okay. So you can go over to our social media channels, our Facebook group, our YouTube channel, any one of our social media channels and engage with us. We love it. I mean, like Russell said last week, this is our 9th year doing this, you guys. Like, this is crazy. So if you want to see how we started to where we are today, you can go over to our YouTube channel and see everything that we have done. But no, this has been a whole lot of fun, just a ton of fun. And it kind of bleeds into Russell. So I have signed a new client. And Russell, so if you guys know me, which most of you guys do, if you're new,
this is huge news, listeners. Yeah. Huge.
So if you're new,
20 minutes in, 20 minutes in,
I'm sorry.
It's huge.
Oh my gosh, it's pretty big. So you guys, if you guys know me, if you don't, you're about to know all of me. I don't talk about myself. I don't talk about my business.
You will today.
Russell generally makes me do these things. I don't do that. I don't throw out when I get new clients. I don't generally do that. Russell was so excited, and so he wants me to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it.
You're talking about it.
I know, as uncomfortable as this is going to be for me. So you guys, I received a call from a audiobook production company that I've known and we've collaborated with in the past called Squeaky Cheese Productions. So they produce audiobooks. So if you're an author looking for audiobooks, check them out because they're fabulous. I love them all. And they do female and male voices for the characters, all these kinds of things. So they had figured out, that I do PR and book marketing. Me and Mickey collaborate on the PR since I've had my children, and I took a step away from that. And they sent me John McAfee. So if you don't know who John McAfee is, he is a professional pro golfer. He's won 10 championships back in the day. He has done commentary for golf. So he is a very big deal. When I got with him on the phone call and we were having this conversation, he is the sweetest guy that I've ever talked to. I'll show his photo in case you don't know who I'm talking about. If you don't follow golf, I grew up watching golf, so I knew who he was. My dad knew for sure who John McAfee is. And so we had a really good phone conversation. And so he has transitioned from his wild days of being a pro golfer and commentating on golf to writing books. And so he has written some books in his series. Squeaky Cheese Productions has done his audiobooks, which is how he found me. So we had conversations about what PR and marketing would look like for him, what direction he wants to go in, and all of that. And the funny thing is that nobody here knows, Mickey also does not know because we're collaborating on that, is me and John, we're talking last year. We've been talking since August of last year. We decided to move forward in June of 2025. And so we signed John McAfee on as our client. And to me, it's just a fun thing. He's a really nice guy. His books are really good. I listen to all of his books before I sign him on as a client, which I do for all of my clients. If you don't have an audiobook, I read your book before I sign you to know if we're going to be a good fit. So if you need a free read, send me your book, because that's generally just kind of what I do. But to have him reach out to me and him just kind of kick it off really well, and our personalities and everything like that. Because, to be completely honest, I stick with indie and self-published. That is my realm. That is my happy spot. I love that arena, right? So he is the biggest person I've ever talked to in my entire life. So it was fun to just been like, oh, we were just sitting down having a casual conversation, a coffee shop conversation, which made it even more fun for me. But he self-published his books, and that was his choice. He didn't want to seek an agent, do anything like that. He wanted to self-publish, and they're really good books. I thoroughly have enjoyed them. When I listen to them, I listen to them all in a weekend. And so, it's just a really fun thing. Mickey is collaborating with me on it in terms of PR and everything. We'll be doing marketing campaigns and everything like that. But yeah, you guys, we've moved up. We signed a pro golfer. Like, oh my gosh, I'm living the dream. And on top of that, Russell, okay, so if you guys remember months ago, I think it was in November before Thanksgiving, I had told you guys that I had won another award. I didn't tell you. Mickey again tooted my own horn and told everybody that I had won this award. So I have a bunch of awards up there that you can't see because I don't generally talk about them. But I won one, and it is a multi-award winning trophy, and it's gold or silver, one of those. And it's a multi-award winning one. And it's going to come today, you guys. So I'm going to take a photo and I'm going to post it so you guys can see it, because I know that Russell's dying to see this trophy because we talked about it last time. It's like platinum or something. I don't know. So I've won this one multiple times. But as you guys know, you've listened to the show, I don't talk a lot about myself, about the success that we've had. But just to sum up this whole thing, since it's like an infomercial on Abundantly Social, we are award winning. We've won 13 awards. I have a lot of the trophies up there. I just don't talk about them. And we're really big over in the UK. I win a lot of awards over there, including here in the States for book marketing specialist, social media marketer of the year, all of these things. We've gone to events to celebrate it. I just don't talk about it. So if you wanted to know, now you know, right? But no, we are moving up. John McAfee is the sweetest person in the whole wide world. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to work with him and to market his books and to put those out. And so he will be coming on the show at some point to talk with us and everything. So you're not going to want to miss that show. It's going to be a ton of fun. But, it's just, I thought I would be starstruck, but he's just like casual conversation. So fun times, you guys. I'll be posting his books. Go and give them a listen because they are very well done. And I do highly recommend Squeaky Cheese Productions for audiobooks because they are fantastic. But yeah, that is Abundantly Social's big news, Russell. That's just, it in a nutshell. But Valerie, to answer your question about, who motivated you or pushed you. So Belinda, I am not a writer. I have not written a book. That's not my thing. That's a big no up in here. You've gotten my emails. I mean, I'm sure you're just like, this girl is a grammar vandal. Okay. I'm terrible at grammar, all of those things. Right. But I will tell you, in terms of being a creative, right. And we all know this. We all know Sandy Lawrence. We love Sandy Lawrence. Right. But where I am today is because of her. Right. I started working with her when I was finishing up college and getting ready to move to Houston.
You were so fun to pick on back then.
I know. He really just wanted to pick on me. It was just fun. But
we love Sandy.
I know. Sandy is great. But she's the reason. And when I do interviews and I tell people this, they're like, wow, they can't believe. So she was running Belinda, a PR company. And I was vice president for her. It was a small PR company at the time. And she's the one that encouraged me to also start Abundantly Social. So she's like, hey, work for me and start your own company. She helped me do that. She pushed me to do that. And then when she retired, she left it all to me. Right. Oh, and then I've taken it into what it is. And I still collaborate with her. I still work with her, even though she's retired. I try to let her have her retirement, but it's Sandy. So it doesn't happen. But in terms of being a creative, I would say, Sandy would be mine. In terms of knowing that I cannot write, would be every English teacher I had in high school. Okay, I could memorize Macbeth to get, that extra credit that I needed to get that B, so my GPA would be good. I could do that. But in terms of writing papers and doing all that, I wish ChatGPT was when I was in high school. It would have been so much easier to write my papers and get good grades. So they encouraged me not to do that. Okay, I'm just going to swing it that way for you to answer your question on that for sure. But let's get Belinda talking about her book and get her just letting us all know. So Valerie, take it over.
All right, Belinda, I am so excited to talk about Phases. Can you tell me a little bit? It says it's you've reissued it, basically revised, new edition, all of that. How did that come to be?
Well, the first edition of my book came out just before COVID, and I had a wonderful launch here in Saskatoon, and well attended, and lots of fun. And I had planned a bit of a book tour and stuff, and then a bunch of things happened all at the same time. My mother passed away, my publisher folded, COVID happened, so there was not going to be any book tour, and so all of a sudden my new book had no publisher.
Belinda, can I ask you to add something to your story?
Sure.
A little bit at the end of the story, would you make sure you say something about the publisher? We always come across writers that have bad experiences. They get promises or something, and then someone folds or something. I don't know what your story is, but could you include a little bit of that before you finish? That's all.
Maybe if I could say that now so I don't forget.
I understand. That would be me, by the way, too.
So my publisher was Cotto Books. They were a Saskatchewan publisher for 45 years. Very well, really great history, very well respected. It was the sort of publisher you wanted to take your book on. So that was lovely. I was really excited about that. And then I'm not sure all the background stuff, but they folded. So I'm just really lucky that I got a book with them before they folded. I was the last poetry title that they published, so I kind of claim that as some little piece of fame. So they were absolutely amazing and wonderful to work with. It was an excellent experience. It's just whatever happened. And so my book was, as I called, orphaned. And because of all these other things that were happening in my world, I didn't have the heart to deal with it. My mom was really sick. A writer friend that I was going to tour with passed away. Like it was too much. But then Shadowpaw Publishing, I was in contact with them, and they said they would happily take me and my book on, and that was really exciting and wonderful. And then I said, well, there's a few poems that I've actually added on to since the first edition. Like, can I put those changes into the book? And he said, it's your book. Do what you want. Ed is wonderful. And then I said, well, okay, that's great. I said, I've actually got about 30 new poems that would fit the book, because my book is a poetry memoir. So it's the story of my life in poetry. And even though the first edition had come out and been published, I couldn't stop writing material that fit that book. So Ed said, "That's your book, put them in." So the second edition came out with 30 or 31 new poems in it. And Ed and Shadowpaw have been absolutely amazing to work with as well. So that's kind of the story of how my book started and then evolved into the second edition.
And how long had you been writing these poems? Like since you were like 15, or just like, just as they were over your lifespan, or just like recently?
Well, I'd always kind of written. I always, wanted to be a writer, but never really had a lot of self-confidence, despite all those great teachers I had. And then just life happened, and that wasn't always smooth. So it really wasn't until I was getting closer to retirement. I worked in healthcare for 32 years. that I thought, okay, well, you know, a little more focus on me and what I really want to do, which is writing. So I got a little more serious about writing and worked with mentors and took workshops and, you know, hired a few editors to work on some of the material I was doing. I've got 3 writing groups that regularly give me feedback on my writing, and one of them is we've been together 25 years. Another group is 15. So lots of support from my writing community, and Saskatoon is not a big city, and Saskatchewan's not a big province, so it's really easy to make connections within the city and province in the literary community.
That's awesome. I love that you have the support of like your little groups and all that. How do you feel like just as a poet and a writer that is in the process? Because maybe some people don't realize that, you know, I'm alone, but having that support, how did that affect you?
Well, there's that common idea of the lonely writer in their garret, you know, plugging away and not having any connection to the outside world, and that works for a lot of people. And I mean, I do spend a lot of time alone writing, of course, but it really does help me to have those connections to people that you know, I've grown to love and respect, and who will be totally honest with me.
Yeah.
That's a really important piece, the honesty, and you know, we have our pattern of, say, you know, this is what I think is working well. Not sure about this part of the poem, or, you know, this is missing, or this is too much. Like, um, just that really honest feedback really
hmm
helps towards the editing process.
hmm And so getting these new poems together, did I guess when you got your final product now of Phases, how do you feel about how do you feel about that?
Um, I'm proud of the book. I love the book. I love the cover. We were able to keep the same cover from the first publisher. We got the rights to use the same image for the book. So it is a little confusing for people because it's the same image, so they don't know which. Are they looking at the first edition or second edition? Um,
hmm
yeah, see, I've already lost track of the the original question.
Yeah, oh no, it's fine. Also, I guess explain what is the content of your poetry?
The content, sorry.
Yeah, it's just like I guess the direction of some of the poems. I know it's because you have so many. What can people expect to read if they're, you know, diving in there?
Well, the book is very much a chronological telling of my life through poetry. So there's some poems about childhood and all those weird, confusing things when you're a child, about the way people talk compared to how they act. You know, and when my grandfather passed away, you know, the way people were acting and talking about that was really confusing. I think I was about 10. And then there's the whole coming of age thing, and I was a tomboy, and, you know, but then coming into age and teenagehood is very confusing for everybody, of course. So there's poems about that. There's poems about you know, first, you know, dating experiences and getting married too young and then getting divorced, and so the whole book is the story of my life through different phases, and that's why it's called Phases. It's also called Phases because I really have an affinity for the moon. I just
Oh,
love
yes.
moon stuff. I'm crazy
hmm
about moon stuff. So, and then I came out in midlife, and so there's the middle part of the book is about surgery that I had that I didn't want to have but had to have, and how that made me look at my life and things I really wanted to do, and then that made me look at relationships I was in and maybe why they weren't working. And so, yeah, I came out in midlife, and then I got involved in the drag community here in Saskatoon. So I was actually a performing drag king, which is not a usual subject for poetry, or I don't know that I've written anything by a drag king poet before except my own.
hmm
And then it's yeah, so there's a section about being a drag king and performing in the drag community here Saskatoon and in the province, and then poems about meeting my wife, and yeah, ending on a good note of being happy in my life with my marriage and our dog, and just happy having the life I have.
I love that. I love that. It sounds like you've been, exposing vulnerabilities and insights and just so many feelings. And that's what poetry is sometimes. Sometimes, people I think are afraid to write poetry because they're like, I don't know how to tackle that. I don't know how I can explain that. But poetry has such a way of leading into that fluidity. Do you feel that?
I very much do, and it's just kind of the natural way that my mind wants to express itself is in poetry. I mean, I've written personal essays and other things, but
Mhm.
but poetry is my first love. And you were talking, Valerie, about getting that A in high school. Well, going back to my haiku in grade school, I got a gold star, and I still remember that gold star. That was as equivalent to the A that you got. That gold star was just like, for
Mhm.
grade 3, I was just like, wow, this is amazing. Like my teacher thought
Mhm.
this was good enough to give me the top accolade. So
Exactly. Yes. Do you feel like did you have more poetry in you? I think you do, I bet.
oh
Would
yeah,
you have like a yes. Yes.
I'm working on another manuscript, and I'm getting ready to hire an editor to look at it. Oddly enough, there's quite a bit of it is memoir poetry, but there's also some um, early feminist writers that I've been really intrigued with, that I've been writing poetry about things that happened in the world. I'm writing poetry about, so that not all of what I write will go into the next manuscript, of course, but
Mhm.
hopefully it'll go into the next 3 or 4. And I'm
And-
working on a haiku project too
oh,
with a
that's so fun.
visual artist. And then one of my writing groups is working on an anthology. We've did one 2 or 3 years ago, and we're working on a second anthology. So I've got a few writing projects on the go for sure.
Just
That
a
is
few.
awesome.
Just
Just yeah,
just
just
a
a few.
few. Yeah.
Just a few.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm
That's
having, I know this is not believable, but I'm having battery issues. So after all the jokes so if I disappear, that's why.
love
Before I
it.
go, before I'm cut off, uh, Valerie, great job. Belinda, thank you very much for explaining that not all publishers that go down are necessarily negative. You
Yeah,
seem to have had a positive
I
experience with your first publisher,
absolutely
and
did.
that they were responsible in how they took care of you. So that was a nice story. Thank you. And you intrigued me when you wrote about when you were a child and the way people talk. Do you really have a poem like that?
Um, Let me just grab my book.
And if you do, I want you to read a couple of your favorite lines from that poem.
Ooh, that's a
That
great idea.
when you were talking to Valerie, you hooked me with that
Yes.
because you're from Saskatchewan, which
I
is
Yeah.
am.
so different.
You said it correctly as well, so kudos to you. A
Yes,
lot of
and
people
that's
have a
the
problem with that.
exception. I usually mispronounce words like that intentionally.
I wasn't even gonna try because
I know.
I wasn't. Most people can't even pronounce my last name, and it took me 11 years.
And
Okay, so I wasn't gonna try it.
but I wanted to compliment her, and I
I like
still
it.
can't pronounce your last name.
I know.
Is it Ravi Chandran?
There you
Ravi
go. You are
Chandran?
the closest person. Yeah,
And it's
that's
a
pretty
beautiful
close.
name, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Yes.
worked with somebody whose last name was Ravi Chandra, so
There you go.
There you
you
go.
could just got an N.
Yeah.
So
You had experience. I like it. I like it.
Do you have a favorite two lines from that particular poem?
well,
And I'm almost gone.
okay, I'll go fast. So the first poem in the second edition is called Girls and Boys When I'm 5. Mom and I are girls, and Dad and my brothers are boys. Girls have VGs and boys have PPs. Girls wear panties and dresses, and boys wear underpants and jeans. Mums are housewives, and dads have jobs. So it goes on from there, like
Yes.
the gender
Nice.
divide, right? For
Thank you.
Yes.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
like that.
I cannot write like that. Like I just can't. I can't. I wish. I'm envious because I can't do this. But man, it sounds like you have a lot of fun things that you're a part of, right? So you have a lot of writing things, just a few, right? Just a few that you're working on, right? And then you do the drag kings, which to me that just sounds so much fun. I love going to those. It sounds like so much fun, and you're involved heavily in your community, which I think is amazing. And then you write poetry, which I don't know about Valerie and Russell. I don't get to encounter poets very often. I don't get to talk to them very often. So when Mikey had sent it to me and had told me everything, I was like, man, this sounds awesome, because I am envious. I wish I could do poetry and write it. And I can't. I don't know how you guys do it, but just poets in general just sound so elegant, and you're just like, oh man, you leave the room once you're with a poet, and you're just are like, crap, I don't have words that flow out that elegantly. I mean, I don't know about everybody else. That's how I feel. I mean, I'm just telling you how I feel, but I love it. You have all of these adventures and things that have led into this, and you did have a good experience with your first publisher, even though they went under, which is, not something that very many encounter, and so I love that. And you're with Shadow Paw Press, which is great. They are great. They're expanding and getting bigger, which is amazing. So you found your home place, in terms of publishing now, which I love. And then I still love how you're just like, just a few, like, it's just a few. Well, I'm over here like, oh my gosh, you have a lot to do. I'm slowly having anxiety about it. So.
Well, I was even thinking when she said she added the extra poems to the revised edition. You said it was like 30 extra poems, right?
Yeah.
Or so. So
Nice.
that was even more to already published books. So that is quite a bit of work, and kudos for sure.
Well, thank you. And I couldn't stop writing memoir poems, so it's perfect to have a place to put them.
Yeah, it bleeds out of you. I love it.
Yeah. Yes, that's the word. It's just you can't turn it off, right, Belinda? Yeah. You can't turn it off. Yes.
Yeah, you have to go with the flow. If it's
absolutely,
if it's carrying you there, just go with the flow. Don't fight it.
I agree. Man, I agree.
I lived my life that way, and then I had kids, and I can't live my life that way anymore. Because I try to go with the flow, and I'm like, I'm only going to be 5 minutes late. No, because it takes them an extra 20 minutes to get out the door. So, but no, I am a huge fan of going with the flow, wing it, fake it till you make it kind of thing is my motto. But man, 30 extra poems. Like, Valerie, I'm glad you caught that. Because I was like, I know you did a second edition. You're like, you added 30 extra poems. So that just shows it just bleeds. It just bleeds from you. You're just like poetine all the time. And poetine probably isn't a word, but it is now in the Amy dictionary. It's a word.
Yeah. I'm going to use it.
Oh, I love it. Russell doesn't like it, but it's okay.
Not use that word.
I love it. I love it. It just, just getting you talking about it, Belinda. I don't know if you see it. I see it for sure. You just love it.
I do.
You really do. Love it, and you're so happy about it. And, I think it takes a special person to, write poetry. Because like I said, I don't encounter it very often. And when you leave from someone that's doing a poetry reading or whatever, you generally are just like, holy crap, I thought, I need to do more better with my words, as Russell would say, do more better. So I need to do that. But it's just, it's an amazing art form. I don't get to encounter. So I'm so happy that you're on and that we can talk about your amazing art form, because I don't get to experience it. So this is amazing to me. So thank you for doing it, and for you just radiate happiness about it. And I love it. So thank you. Thank you. It's amazing.
Well, thank you as well. This has been wonderful.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah. Yeah. Even with Russell made it. Russell has made it to the end, even though
he's still here.
I'm still here. I kind of wish I hadn't. Amy's a little bit too happy and joyful. I always hate it when she
It's
gets like that.
Monday. He does hate
But
that.
For
I
a
do.
Monday,
You
yeah.
know I hate that.
So
Hey, it's
Belinda,
going to
where can we
set
get
your
your
Monday.
books?
I'm a little bit too cynical, Belinda. You need to let us know before I disappear where readers and buyers can find your books and find out more about you.
Well, here's the book, Phases. I
Nice.
love the cover, absolutely, and that's from the first publisher. I given them ideas for what I thought the cover should be, and then he presented those ideas, and then he said, "But we also have this idea." So, yeah, I love the cover. It's eye
I
catching for
love it.
sure, and even though it wasn't the kind of drag I did, it still plays with drag, and playing with drag is all about play. So that was perfect. You can get that. It's on Amazon, all the electronic places that you can get books. It's all over the place, and through Shadow Paw Press, of course. And I mean, you're all in the States, so you're probably not going to come up to the best bookstore in Saskatoon, which is McNally Robinson Booksellers, but they carry the book, and Turning the Tide in Saskatoon carries a book. There's lots of local places, but you can get it online and absolutely Amazon
I love it.
and Shadow Paw Press.
Fabulous. Yeah, I won't be coming up there. You guys are cold.
We are cold. It's minus 27 today.
Gosh, and I'm over here like 56 is like I got my heated blanket on. Like, see, I wouldn't survive there. I'm sorry.
And next week, Amy, it's going to be worse. It's going to be worse next week.
Don't tell me these things, you guys. Don't tell me these things. But Belinda, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and hang out with us and to share your poetry and your love for it with us. It has been so much fun to have you on. You're welcome back anytime. So I just want to say thank you for taking time out. I had a lot of fun.
Great to meet you all. I watched some of your podcasts, of course, ahead of time, and I was like, okay, that's going to be a really fun, relaxed place to visit. So thank you for that. So this was a lot of fun. And no stress, so thank you.
Oh, yeah. Hey, yeah. We don't like stress in our lives by any means. No. But you guys, we hope that you have a fantastic rest of your morning. If you're down here in the South, stay warm, okay? Our heat's going to come back eventually. Hold on, okay? I'm telling you. But have a good Monday, a good rest of your week. And until next week, you guys, bye for now, everybody.